I am back, guys, and I am moving to Minneapolis. If you're interested in learning more about my journey, keep watching. So first, I want to thank all the people who subscribed and watched my channel. My video about Marston Raleigh got way more views than I was expecting, and so I'm definitely looking forward to making more videos in 2019. So thank you guys so much for your support. So I'm moving to Minneapolis, and I wanted to document this journey because as I was doing research about moving, I couldn't really find videos of people moving to Minneapolis. I was like, okay, people moving to Atlanta, people moving to DC, people moving to New York, people moving to LA, but Minneapolis is not one of those cities that people tend to document their journey to. But a lot of people are moving to Minneapolis. There's a lot of jobs there. There's a lot of Fortune 500 companies there. So it's a really interesting city, but you know, a lot of people don't think about it because it's in Minnesota. Minnesota's not a state that really evokes a lot of like great feelings for a lot of people, except for me because I'm a Golden Girls fan. So, you know, when I think Minnesota, I think Rosen Island, but that's neither here nor there. So I really wanted to document this journey. And right now I'm actually in a car, as you can see, with all of my worldly possessions, traveling up there to begin looking for apartments. So the way that I'm doing this is I'm actually leaving my car down south because the winters in Minnesota can be bad. And there's also a lot of vehicular accidents in Minneapolis. And so I don't want to go up there unfamiliar with the roads and get into an accident within my first few months there. So I decided to just go up there with my stuff, use public transport, and get my car a couple months later. So that's why you see all this stuff. And this is a rental. Obviously, this is not my Kia Rondo, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm excited about that fact because then I feel like I'll really get to see the city, having to actually ride public transportation and kind of like walk around. I feel like I'll see more of the city and know more of the city. So, and I've never done that before. Like I've never, since I was like 16, I haven't been without a car. So it's been like 10 years since I've been without a car. So I am a little bit nervous, but I'm also excited because Minneapolis is a city that has all the creature comforts. I can get my groceries delivered, you know, I can get an Uber. So it's not a big deal if I do need to drive somewhere, but I think it's going to give me more of the city experience. Now, I want to talk about some of the reasons why I chose to move to Minneapolis and then some of the kind of disadvantages of Minneapolis, some things that I feel may be challenges. The first reason I chose to move to Minneapolis is because I feel like it's something new. I am an Army brat. I've moved around most of my life, so I don't really have an aversion to moving to new places. I don't really have an aversion to like going to new places at all. Also, I didn't necessarily want to live in Atlanta. I grew up in the suburbs of Atlanta, like went to high school in the suburbs of Atlanta, and I love Atlanta. I think it's a great place with a lot of opportunities, but for me, I didn't want to live there. And so I was kind of faced with an option where between the major cities where I had job offers, it was like Atlanta and like Minneapolis. And I was like, I don't really want to go to Atlanta. I've been there, done that, seen it. I don't really want to live there. And so I decided to go to Minneapolis because it was someplace new. Also, when I visited Minneapolis for my interviews and everything, we did a tour and we got to see more of the city. And I learned a lot about Minneapolis that I liked. I like that it has a really great theatrical community. Like, I think Minneapolis is only second to New York in the number of theater seats. So if you're really into like seeing theater productions and getting into that, Minneapolis is your city. Minneapolis is a great place for outdoors activities. I love to hike. I love to go outdoors. And so Minneapolis is great for that. Minneapolis is great for bike riding. If you love to bike ride, you know, which is something I've never really been into lately, but I would love to get into. Minneapolis has a great food community. It's just a really great community for young professionals from the way that I saw it. Jobs are out there. Outdoors activities are out there. Entertainment is out there. It's just a lot of great things to draw people to Minneapolis. But some bad sides or some things that are kind of downsides about it is that obviously it's in the Midwest. Like it's literally in the Midwest. So you're not really close to things. So like living in Georgia, I was close to my alma mater. I was close to my school. I was close to my old high school. I was close to a lot of people within about 2 hours who I either went to high school with or went to college with or family members. So even though I might have not lived right there with them, I was close. Being in Minneapolis, I'm going to have to get on a flight to really visit people or see people. And so that can be a downside for a lot of people. Other thing is the weather. You know, it is cold there during the winters. And so for a lot of people, they're like, I ain't trying to deal with cold. But having been in the South for so long and having dealt with the extreme heat, I'm not really so turned off by extremes. I feel like you're always going to have to compromise in some way. You know, either it's going to be a lot of traffic, it's going to be really expensive, it's going to be really hot, it's going to be really cold. You know, there's very few areas where you're going to get everything all in one and be in a metropolitan area and be around young professionals and have entertainment. It's kind of like you got to pick your poison kind of thing. So, but that is a downside for a lot of people, is the weather. The other thing is that when I was doing research on Minneapolis and trying to see what it was like to live there, I did find a list that was published in 2018, November 2018. I think it was by the 24/7 Wall Street Journal. It's a website. I don't know. They published this list of kind of the worst places for Black Americans to live, and Minneapolis was number 4 on that list. So, you know, that's kind of a down. For some people, that could be, you know, a bad strike against it, right? Like, it's number 4, despite it kind of being this city, and despite Minnesota being a state that's really like implemented some Nordic model type things. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. I might do another video on that. But despite them kind of implementing some of these Nordic ideas about the economy and about social services, there's still a very large gap between the Black and white population in terms of average income, in terms of rates of unemployment. From what the study is saying, it's extremely segregated still. So for a lot of people, that can be a turnoff, you know, versus Atlanta, where Atlanta is Black. You know what I'm saying? Like, Atlanta, you ain't gonna ever go to a place where you're not gonna meet a Black person or come in contact with a Black person. You have poor people in Atlanta, poor Black people in Atlanta. You got rich, affluent Black people in Atlanta. So for a lot of people, Atlanta is kind of a mecca for Black people. Minneapolis, not so much. Now, this study didn't separate African immigrants from like descendants of chattel slavery. So that's another thing to consider. Somalians, why did I just say that? Minneapolis, Minnesota as a whole took in a lot of Somalis during their crisis that was going on. And so therefore, Minneapolis, I think, has the second highest population of Somalis in the world, second only to Somalia itself. So obviously that could affect the data. If you count those people as Black Americans, that could affect the data, because a lot of them have just come over and therefore, you know, may not be as economically stable. So consider that as well. But the point is, that is a down, for a lot of people, that's a disadvantage of Minneapolis, is those statistics. For me personally, I would love to go there and try to get involved in the community and see how I can help and just do the best I can to try to contribute to trying to help people who are struggling there. So that's kind of how I viewed it. But there are a lot of cities on the Midwest that are on that list, unfortunately. So, you know, that's a down, kind of a down thing. But anyway, I'm going to be documenting more of my journey. I'm going to be showing you guys my apartment hunting process. I'm going to be showing you guys kind of what's around Minneapolis. I'm going to be showing you guys kind of like the cost of living in terms of food and bus fare. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys, and I hope you guys will follow this journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.